There are moments in life that divide everything into a before and after, like losing our son. That was one of those moments for us. People often ask me, how did we survive that season? What they didn't usually ask is what happened in our marriage. Because most people they don't think about grief. They just imagine the tears. They imagine sadness, the heartbreak. What they don't imagine is the distance, the silence, the disconnection. Two people carry the same pain while somehow drifting further apart. And that's exactly, my friend, what happened to us. Not because we stopped loving each other, not because either of us wanted out, but because our pain has a way of isolating people, especially men. And I did what most men do. I tried to stay strong. I tried to carry the weight. I tried to keep moving forward. I thought my job was to protect my family from the pain. Well, first I thought my job was to protect my family, and that obviously wasn't possible within the circumstances of losing our son. But what I didn't realize is that while I was trying to protect everybody else, I was slowly disconnecting from the person who needed me the most, my wife. And here's what I've learned since then. And it's been 14 years. But most marriages, they didn't break because two people stopped loving each other. Most marriages break because two people stop finding each other. Life changes, right? Things happen. Life changes. People change, right? You grow. Losses. Loss changes you. Pressure, work, financial, home changes you. Years change you.
2, 1.
And my friend, if you're not intentional, you can wake up one day next to someone you fell in love with and feel like you barely know them at all. Maybe that's where you are right now. Maybe nobody died, and that's amazing. And I'm so happy that you didn't have to experience what I went through. Maybe there wasn't even a major tragedy. Maybe it was work. Maybe it was kids, stress, responsibilities, years of just surviving. But somewhere along the way, my friend, that connection between you and your wife just started to fade. And if that's you, this message is for you. Because what saved our marriage wasn't trying to get back to what we had. That was done, right? We had to learn to build something new. And today, my friend, I want to share a framework that I used that really helped us find each other again when the marriage we knew no longer existed. And what I called it was the rebuild process. How couples reconnect after life changes them. Because it's important, my friend, to begin to rebuild. Not recreate, not find what was working, but really rebuild into something that is unshakable, unbreakable. You know, my wife right now, for those who are on here, I call her my rib, right? Because I believe that God took a piece of my rib and created her out of it. Just like Adam and Eve. He put Adam to sleep, took out a rib, and created Eve. And I call her my rib because I believe she's the one that I was supposed to be with. When you go through something and you're able to rebuild something into what we have, which took work, right? This wasn't something that just slipped by. It definitely took work to get to where we were to where we are. And we still have struggles, right? We're not a perfect couple. We still have a lot of struggles, but we work through them, and we have a process that we use all the time. And I want to begin with just showing you the process that we used to get us from where we were into rebuilding into the relationship that we have now. Because saving a marriage isn't about going back. It's about choosing each other again and again. This is a daily choice that we make and how we choose. So let's just jump into this rebuild. So we start with R. We want to recognize the marriage has changed. It's not what it was yesterday. It's not what it was a year ago. And for those who have been blessed to be married like me for over 15 years, it's not what it was when I first got married to my wife. You're not rebuilding the old marriage. You're creating a new one. And this, my friend, I want you to look at as being something exciting. You get to create something new. As men, we love creating things. We love doing the woodworking. We love doing the mechanical things. Some people love rebuilding engines, right? But when it comes to our marriage, we don't want to rebuild it. We want to fix whatever we had, right? But you're getting to create something new. You're getting to create and fall in love with your wife again like you did years before. The moment we stop trying to go backwards, we could finally move forward. And that was the biggest thing. When you have that realization, my friend, that, you know what we had before is not what we're going to have in the future. We're going to rebuild this. We're going to knock the whole thing down and we're going to restart. And this is where your life is going to change. Now we want to jump into express. E. Express is what you're carrying. As men, we like to hold in what we have, right? We like to suffer in silence. We like to just not share with our best friend, our spouse, that woman that's standing by our side, what we're truly going through because we feel we're a burden. Now, she suffers differently than you do, but we both become lonely. When one person is suffering one way, another person is suffering another way, you can't build that together. So you want to talk with your spouse. You want to figure out, what am I carrying? What are the things that I'm feeling inside? Why do I feel like I am not the provider? What am I missing? Where is our intimacy in this relationship not growing in the direction I want it to grow? And when you can understand that, you begin to create that. What am I pretending that's not affecting me? What are the things that between you and your wife that is, you're like, nah, you know what? It doesn't bother me. But it actually does. Maybe there's certain things that your wife does that bother you. I'm very honest with my wife. Sometimes a little too honest. Because we'll have a conversation and like an example that really doesn't mean too much is meals. So my wife will make a dinner. And if I honestly don't like the dinner, I'll be like, oh my gosh, honey, don't make that one again. Oh, okay, he doesn't like it. And that's usually how our conversations go. Because I've heard stories of men who the wife made shepherd's pie, we'll say. And for decades, he's been happily eating the shepherd's pie. And finally one day she goes, what do you think about this? And he goes, yeah, it's actually kind of gross. She's like, what are you talking about? You've been eating this for 10 years and you haven't said anything. Why didn't you say something earlier? I would have made a switch. I would have changed something in the recipe and created something that you liked. And that's the key here, my friend, is you have to, and your wife have to, create something in that recipe, in the intimacy recipe, that is going to create the life that you are looking for. Now we move into B, become. You want to be students again. When you fell in love with your wife back at the beginning, you wanted to know everything about her. You wanted to learn about her. You wanted to learn about what her favorite color was. What was the thing she likes to do? What makes her happy? What makes her sad? What makes her kind of push her buttons? You know, as men, we love to do that with our wives. What really pushes her? We're going to try a little harder on that one. But we really want to figure out, what is our friend all about? Because over years, she's not who she was. My wife is not who she was 15 years ago when I married her. She's grown into something more. And I want to discover that every single day. Most disconnected couples become an expert on themselves. We know who we are. Man, I've grown into this man, this person that I'm becoming, and she's not recognizing it. Well, she's not recognizing it because you're not expressing it. And connected couples become the student of each other, right? Who has my spouse become? Who is she being? What do they need now? Maybe they need something different than they did. You know, when we first got married, we didn't have any kids. Then we went through the tragic situation of losing our son. Now we have 2 more kids together. And going through these stages, my wife is completely different from who she was when we had no kids to who she is now when we have a couple teenagers. And that's just how life works. And you have to always become that student again and understand, what does my wife like? What does she need? right? What matters to her today? And when you begin to build that, that begins to create that more success. Now we want to understand before solving. Whew, there's a big one that men need to slow down. We need to understand before solving. As husbands, we love solutions. My wife will talk to me and she'll be like, yeah, so this and this, and I'll pause. And she'll be like, can you give me a solution for this? Oh, absolutely. Because I've became the student again. I understand that she likes me to listen. And until she goes, this is what I want, I won't give my solution. But connection comes from understanding. A wife who feels understood feels safe. And as men, we are protectors. That's part of our biological buildup. We want to protect the people that we love. And we want to make them feel safe. And this is through understanding what they need. A husband who feels understood feels respected, which is what we do. When our wife understands, yeah, this is how I feel, this is where I'm going to build, we definitely feel understood. And this creates intimacy. When my wife feels understood and I feel understood, this brings us together as one. And when we are together as one, nothing can break that. Now, my friend, if you're listening to this and something in today's conversation is hitting a little too close to home, I want to personally invite you to the Connected Brotherhood. It's a free community for husbands and fathers who want to connect with themselves, to their families, and their purpose. And when you join, you're going to also get free access to the Mirror Method course. So just go to adamhensoncoaching.com and I look forward to seeing you there. Okay, so now we've done REBU. Now we're going to get into the I. And the I is about invest. When you want to build money and you invest your money, it builds slowly. But if you're doing it daily, it'll build faster. So most marriages don't collapse from one giant failure, right? My wife and I, when we went through our tragedy, we had to slowly build one day at a time together. And when you're not building, when you're not moving forward, things begin to erode and they begin to collapse. And then once pieces of the framework of your life begin to collapse, that's when you're not going to be able to push yourself into that next level. And you want to push yourself to that next place. Simple examples that I put here. A 10-minute check-in. Coffee together. My wife and I have a routine that for 30 minutes every morning before we get started in anything, if I'm going to my job, if I'm working my business, if she's working her business, whatever it is, we spend 30 minutes in the morning. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. And we call it coffee talk. And we sit there and we have a conversation. We used to go for walks. Now, because of where we're living, it's cold and there's a lot of mosquitoes, so we don't like to go out. So we sit in the room together and we just have coffee and we talk about what's your day doing, what's it look like, how are you feeling, what are you building? And we just really encourage each other and we get to know each other during these coffee talks. An evening walk. Again, we do that when there's no mosquitoes out and it's warmer. It's great. Sitting without phones. This is a constant thing my wife and I try to do, where we just kind of put our phones away and go, okay, Lake, how was your day? This is usually done at the end of the day. And we go, okay, how was your day? How are your calls? How was your building, whatever you're building? And we kind of get to know each other. And this is investing into our relationship daily, and it helps grow. Small investments make huge returns. And then that leads us into lead. We want to lead with vulnerability. As men, we are very internal. We hold everything inside. But leadership isn't pretending you're fine, because we all have stuff that we're going through. Leadership, my friend, is all about going first. Now, if you start opening up to your wife and you haven't done it in years, she'll be like, what is going on? Who is this guy? And it might be weird at the beginning, but you can be like, look, honey, I want to rebuild our intimacy. I want to rebuild our relationship into something that is absolutely amazing. And I know it's going to take some vulnerability on my part, but I'm willing to do that. I've been distant. I've been hurting. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to build this into something better than what we had before, but I'm going to go first. And that leadership with vulnerability is going to, My friend, it's going to change your marriage, even just leading with vulnerability. And finally, decide again. Decide. Every healthy marriage experiences moments where both people must choose again. You choose. Not because they stopped loving each other, but because life changed them. Saving a marriage isn't one decision made on a wedding day. It's the thousands of decisions made after life gets hard. My friend, life gets hard. And in that time, you have to learn to reconnect. You have to learn to rebuild. You have to learn to recognize, express, become, understand, invest, lead. And that leads to those decisions. My friend, this marriage is yours to either build or break. You have to make the decision. No one's coming in there to save your marriage. If you want your marriage to work out, it's up to you. I trust that watching this video and staying here all the way to the end, you want your marriage to work out. So I want to give you a free product. I call it From Roommates to Partners. And what this is just a workbook that you go through, and it's really showing you how to become partners again, how to really build that intimacy, how to build that life, how two people who loved each other became strangers. Then we go through a whole bunch of different phases here that you can work through, and you can create that life that you're looking for, because it's all about building. It's all about building. And when you can rebuild that life that you want, you can begin to create that outcome that you're looking for. And my friend, I want to finish off this. You got married for a reason. And the reason you got married is because you fell in love with somebody. And you wanted to create this life with them. And sometimes things slip away. But I want you to take responsibility today to take back that relationship, to become the man your wife married, to become a better man than your wife married. And this begins one day at a time. So get this workbook, begin working through it, and begin building that life that you truly want. And my friend, remember, trust yourself. You got this.